Welcome to the Gen Care Podcast. We're in the Care Den where we dive deep into the heart of intergenerational wellness topics. I'm your host, Leslie Deans Bryant, healthcare entrepreneur and passionate advocate for change. Join me as we explore the stories, insights, and groundbreaking ideas that's shaping the future of health and wellness. In our very first episode, get ready for an inspiring and a raw conversation on our podcast today. We're thrilled to welcome Tiffney Cambridge, educator of almost 30 years, author of The Little Girl Who Lost Her Smile, and reality TV star. You may know her from VH1's Marrying the Game, which we call JCon, by the way. But today, she's opening up about a deeply personal journey. Tiffney takes us behind the scenes of her family's emotional roller coaster as they rallied around her mother during a very fierce time as her mother was battling breast cancer. From unexpected challenges to moments that changed her forever. Tiffney shares it all. But that's not all. We'll dive into how this experience impacted her. It's a story of love, resilience, and finding strength in the face of life's toughest battles. Don't miss this powerful episode that will touch your heart and maybe even change your perspective on family, caregiving, and the fight against cancer. Tune in now. Tiffney, thanks for coming here as my very first guest of the Gen Den. You know what's funny? Sometimes the best friendships come from the most random connections.
Yes, they do.
Tiff and I actually met from JCon, and I have to tell this story because Tiffany actually doesn't have any people who are friends with JCon and her, but me. I've been mutual friends, and we became sisters. She was in my wedding. Our children call each other auntie and cousins.
Mm-hmm. And have grown up together.
Yes, they have for the last almost 18 years. Yeah. It's been a long time, and the friendship has been genuine, authentic. So thank you for joining me today. What I love most, I think, about Tiff, one of the things about is how you manage to bring light in every room when you walk in.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm serious. You like, even when you're having a good, you're like, let me get my nerves together. Let me figure it out, and just from speaking this through tough times, and we both been through some tough times together, but I think that's one of the most things that I admire you the most about. So I wanted to share that.
Thank you.
So you've been on quite a journey these last 10 years.
Yes.
And even longer, but definitely the last 10 years. And one chapter that really touched me was when you stepped up for your mom during her breast cancer treatment, especially when you were sharing the stories and everything as you was going through that. So we're going to just dive into a very authentic conversation, and I would like for you just to share some of the things with me. So there would be we would talk late night talks about how you were missing your mom and just what you would go through and how you were with her at the time as she went through her battle in the family. And the biggest thing is, I think you always are the listener for us, and sometimes you just needed someone to listen to you. And you've dealt with cancer impact across three generations. Your grandmother, your mother, and even you at one point, it was a scare.
Yes. So
I think, take me back on that journey first, that when it began with your grandmother.
Okay. Well, first, thank you for having me, Leslie.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure and a blessing to be here.
I appreciate that.
And sharing my story. And right now, it's, I think, end of October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so this is the first opportunity that I've had to really speak this month. And so I'm happy to be here and honored to be here.
Thank you.
This time is a really, really sensitive time for me because my mother passed on November the 1st. It's been 20 years. It'll be 20 years on November the 1st that I lost my mom. And she had cancer, breast cancer, on and off for years.
Wow.
And she would beat it. It would come back. She'd beat it again. It would come back. Well, what happened this last time was that it metastasized to the bone.
Wow.
And when it metastasized to the bone, it then spread to her lungs, and then that was kind of a rapid decline. And so this time 20 years ago, I was really watching my mother prepare to transition.
Wow.
Yeah.
So,
So
yes.
right now is a really kind of emotional time for me,
Yes.
because that's where my thoughts are. My thoughts are there. And it's very difficult. And the past 20 years have been difficult. I've had to kind of put my whole family on my back. I turned
Yes.
from, being a daughter to now the matriarch of my family because I have a younger sister,
Yes.
I have a niece, I have a daughter, I have a son, and I've kind of had to put everybody on my back when my mom passed because I was 29, and I've done my best in
You've
these
done
past
great.
20
You've done
years
great.
to carry on her legacy and to do whatever I can do to support and encourage women to get their breasts checked. Now, 20 years ago, we didn't have the preventative measures and the tools that we have now for women. But then, my mom, even then, I should say, my mom was her own healthcare advocate. She would
Oh.
do self breast exams. She would have mammograms, but the treatment and the care that we have now
But did
wasn't
she
there.
do those type of self-care, like her own self-assessments? Was it because of your grandmother having?
Because my
Grandmother
because
had-
my grandmother passed from breast cancer
Correct.
too.
That's
Now
what
their
I'm saying.
journeys were a little different.
Right.
My grandmother had one of her breasts removed,
Wow.
and she left one. When mommy got breast cancer, she said, "I'm done with both breasts."
Okay.
And it's really funny because I've been presented with the option
Mm-hmm.
and have been BRCA tested.
Right.
And I've chosen to keep my boobs.
Right.
And just to kind of be really, really proactive in breast care. So I do self breast examinations weekly. I'm constantly just making sure that everything is feeling okay.
Right.
I'm not having any lumps. I'm not having any uncomfortable feelings in my chest area. And then I'm really adamant about having mammogram and breast ultrasound.
And you are,
Mm-hmm.
and I will say that. So, how do you feel that your grandmother's experience shaped your family approach from when your mother's experience? I know you just shared because you were saying your mommy took away both breasts, and grandmother had only took away one. So, do you feel that your mom was immediately, because she saw your grandmother go through it, she immediately was like, I'm done with this?
She did, and emphasized that she didn't like the way it looked.
Oh, right.
To be quite honest,
Okay.
Some women deal with issues of vanity and the appearance of either having one breast and not having the other,
right?
And or having both breasts removed and then just having that scar.
Right.
My mom didn't want to deal with that. She didn't want to remove one breast and then take a chance on cancer coming into the other breast. So she just wanted to be sure that she would be okay. She tried her best to be okay. So she just removed both of them. My grandmother was a little bit more skeptical.
Right.
She didn't want the first one removed.
Right. I'm gonna give you
this one, but you're not getting both. But ultimately that, didn't even prevent, the cancer from
now
spreading.
It doesn't prevent it, but now you have the people who go, they'll just immediately, at a certain age, if they know that they're going to get breast cancer, they'll immediately just remove them and get some plastic surgery and get them some new boobs.
Right.
But if you don't always get everything out, the cancer can still be lingering and spreading in your body.
And like you had mentioned earlier, I had a scare.
Right.
I've had a couple scares.
I was going to say, no, you had a few.
I've had more than one.
I think
the
3.
most recent, the most recent, I had to have a lumpectomy where I had a lump removed from my breast and tested.
And that was like 2 years ago.
Yes, and tested. And I mean, that was a very, very,
you were scared.
Oh, yeah.
You were in a very vulnerable place. Yeah, I remember.
But God is good.
Yes.
God is good. And, my mother is a praying woman. It was a praying woman.
Yes.
And, I just feel that the generational curse of cancer has been broken in our family.
Praise God.
My sister, she's very large chested.
Yes.
She has bigger boobs than me.
She does.
Small and perfect. But my sister has, her genetics are more similar to my mother's. She's larger breasts.
Okay.
But she's adamant about breast care and staying on top of it. And I'm adamant about making her do that. But yeah, it's just been a journey with having those scares and worrying about, what they're gonna find, but we can't live in
because
fear.
you don't know, and that is very true. And speaking of when you were just saying the breast care exam, I know for me, of course, I don't really have big boobs. Like my mom and sister, they're double D's or so, and I didn't get that gene. I'm more from my father's side, but I also found out that I don't get a mammogram without having a full ultrasound because my boobs are dense. They're dense. They're in my back per se. So if they weren't in my back, I would have the big boobs that my mother and sister have. So I have my doctor literally prescribes, and I'll be getting my exam next week. Literally prescribes to make sure, because I've had some not major scares, but they had to remove some cysts. It was a lump. They had to drain it, and they didn't know. And from ever since then, it was so far back that he made sure we just need to check it just to be on the safe side. So I do understand. And
the diagnostic mammogram with the breast ultrasound.
Yes, with the ultrasound.
And a lot of women don't know that. A lot of women just go in and they just get a regular mammogram. It's not a diagnostic mammogram, and those are two different tests.
They're completely different.
The diagnostic mammogram is way more comprehensive. Okay, they're going to do a little bit more digging.
Yep.
And then the breast ultrasound is going to actually rub the machine over your breast area.
And just
same
to
as
make
if
sure
you were having an ultrasound if you were pregnant.
Right.
And make sure that there are no little lingering spots. Okay. You want to go under your armpit. You want to go in the area where your lymph nodes
because
are.
that over here, and that's what happened. I had a lump here, and they were very concerned. And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt it, but I actually thought it was I knew it was, I didn't know if it was a cyst, but at first I thought it was like, when you get those like ingrown, like the hair.
And that's what come in like a knot.
But it was a knot, and but it wasn't like forming, so it was making me nervous. I was like, I think I need to get to the doctor. And I had already had a mammogram that year, and from ever since then. So I've had 2 drainage in my each of my boobs behind that.
And I think that that's probably the most important thing, to get checked out. If you see something or you notice something that's abnormal, sometimes women just they pass on it.
Yeah, they do.
They're either nervous or
scared,
scared, or they're nonchalant about it, and they don't take the time to go and check and see. And I think that that's so important, to take the time to say, no, this is not normal. This is not what I'm used to feeling. I need to go get this checked out, because as we both know, the earlier, if it is anything, the earlier, the better.
Yes, because there's so much.
Did you see the story about Ananda?
And she, I know her very well. Her and my very dear friend Dana, who's a urologist, they were roommates all through college. So I met Ananda when I was 18 years old. And I literally saw that she went from stage 3 to stage 4. And just an amazing person. And I literally been praying for her, and I honestly just saw it the other day, and I meant to send her a text message just to show her some love.
My heart goes out to her.
Yes, and she's trying to find whatever avenue, healthcare, wellness, and she's like, I'm still not going to die. I'm okay. Yes. And that's because
that's the best attitude.
I was going to say, that's the best attitude. That is the best. She is.
She's a fighter. But some women choose that. Some women, want to take a holistic approach.
Right.
And that's just Western civilization medical approach. But cancer is nothing to play with.
It's not. That big C is disrespectful.
It's nothing to play with.
You are correct. Right. So let's talk about your mom and how she first broke the news to you, or to the family. Like, what did that look like?
Well, we went to the doctor.
You went with her.
I went to the doctor with her. I was with her every step of the way.
Oh, wow.
Right. So we went to the doctor, and it's like, she has cancer. And I think for a while it was kind of like a numbing feeling. You're just numb.
Because you're like, especially 20 years ago, that cancer was like, You're like stuck. You don't know what's going on.
But at the same time, 20 years ago, and the age that I was at, I didn't understand and really realize that this disease really can take you out, even though it took my grandmother out.
Right.
I think because my grandmother was old. My mom was 54
I was like, she
years
was,
old. Very young.
5 years away from your age.
She's
Absolutely.
54. That's very young. And to have cancer, she died at 54. So she was sick before she died. So she was sick in her 40s.
Wow.
Okay. And so, just to think about that and think about how she fought so valiantly to stay here for my sister and I. She went through radiation. She went through chemotherapy. She also worked in the health field. My mommy worked at Daniel Freeman Hospital.
Right, I was going to say, yes.
And she used to go and get chemotherapy and radiation and go back up to work.
Wow.
She did. She felt that kind of like laying into it or falling into it wasn't good for her.
So she needed to stay busy. And that's what I'm saying.
She did.
And now people don't even want to go to work if they have a headache.
I'm
just saying, it's the fighter aspect of it, because if you sit down, that means you could be laying down, and then she wasn't ready.
And she used to say the most messed up stuff to me. She'd say, well, either, because where Daniel Freeman Hospital is. And she'd say, I'm going to get better and I'm going to stay here, or I'm going over there. Why would you say that? Talking about the cemetery.
I was going to say, I was getting ready to tell our listeners.
Her down.
Which is the Inglewood Cemetery, directly across the street.
She would say that. She would.
Wow.
And, she's like, I'm going to stay here or I'm going to go there. And she was battling, this disease. But she had such a positive attitude. She would say stuff like that in a joking way. She did everything that she could to try to keep our spirits up. Even to her
Maya
Maya was 21.
I was about to say, was Maya 21?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She tried her best to put on a brave face for my
and
sister
that's what parents do. You do it all. That's what parents do. Even when you're getting ready to break, you're like, oh my God. And then because of like you're just about to lose it.
Cry
yes.
on the pillow at night.
Absolutely. When the kids are asleep.
Yes.
So there's this unspoken reality about being there for your parent through treatment. However, what's something nobody really prepares you for? Because of course, as the kid, the tables turn when it's time for us to be the caregiver for our parent. But what's the reality that no one probably prepares you for?
Well, you don't realize that when you're young, your parents take care of you.
Right.
And when you get older, you end up taking care of your parents.
Correct.
That's the reality of just the cycle of life. And taking care of a parent and just actually watching their health kind of just
decline. Especially at your age, because you didn't even have children yet. So Justice O'Callaghan was not born. So you were you graduate from USC,
yes.
You're ready, you're going into your teaching world and everything, and now you're bam. And now you're the caregiver.
And that's why companies like your company are so important.
Thank you.
Because I didn't have that. I didn't know anything.
Right.
I didn't
it used to be the lady from the church or some if you had that around family members
from my church.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's usually what it is. From
exactly.
20 years ago, that was what non-medical home care was. Or you send them to a nursing home, and then now you can't even get in a nursing home unless you're in your last 30 days.
And that's why services like yours are so
Thank
needed.
you.
But we didn't have those then. And if we did, we didn't know about them. And then an African American woman servicing, not just our community, but the whole community. That would have been such a blessing for me back then, because I was my mother's caregiver.
And at that age, you don't even know what you're getting ready to really do. You used to oh, Mama, I'll bring you some food, but it's still
you don't know about the medication.
No, you don't.
The dosages, just changing them and making sure that they're clean, and because at some stage of their illness
they can no longer do anything. They're ambulatory. And well, even when you mention the medicine, that's like I did pharmaceutical sales for 25 years, and of those 10 of the 25 years, I started the company. You were around. I was working the company, and I started the company because I would be in cardiologists, endocrinologists' offices, and I would see these elderly people. I'm like, where's their family? They're in the parking lot of Cedars, backing up, running into people's cars. Because, of course, now every car has a camera on it, but back then there was no cameras. They were driving, and they were not capable. Like, they're literally like their diaper was full of urine. You could smell them and everything. I was like, so it needs to be a service that
to help.
And
families.
that's how Ultra Care Services became a thing. And of course, it was Home Helpers of Beverly Hills at the time. And then I pivoted, left the franchise, and went on my own. But I saw the dynamic, and I didn't know what was going to go, but I saw that. And so, yes, I do. I know about medicine. It's funny you're saying this because I provide caregiver services, but I know when I have to go fill in for someone and be a caregiver, I'm like, oh my God.
Yes. You're not prepared for that.
No.
You're not prepared for that.
And I panic sometimes. I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, oh, right. And your bonus mom, Clary's my mom. She's vibrant. She's out and going. But of course, she's getting older. She'll be 74, and it's a lot.
Yes.
And there are times that I think
we need that support.
Yes.
We need that support.
Yes.
We do. Someone to come in and do the job, and do the things that are difficult for family members and friends, of the person that's ill to do. And like you said,
it takes a village, but villages aren't villaging anymore.
You need some support.
Right, you need some support. So I know you had your own scare. So was that one of the main reasons why you went to social media to really spread the word? Because at the time that Mama Linda went through this, there was no social media, of course.
Right.
I think you barely had an email if then.
So we still have probably big back computers.
Right.
But yes, I do use my platform and wanted to use my platform to be transparent.
Yes.
One time I had gone in for a breast mammogram, and then I had the scar,
yes,
and I wanted to show,
and so many people.
I wanted to show that it's okay. I don't have any problem with the scar.
Right.
I'd rather have a scar and a lump out than not have a scar and have a lump in.
Yeah.
And I think that just gave other women, the courage to show their scars, to tell their stories. And so, yes, if you're going to have a platform, I think it's very important to share your stories and to encourage women, to let them know that it's okay.
Yes.
Because sometimes you have any type of celebrity.
Yes.
People think that you're different, and you're not. You have the same struggles, the same challenges that everybody else has.
We put our shoes on the same way, our pants on and everything. And I'm not a celebrity, you are, but I say that to say people a lot of times don't understand that.
And they need to know, and they need to see it.
Yes.
And I think that's one thing about myself that I pride myself on. I don't walk around, with the big head. I don't walk around thinking I'm all that, But I grew up in Inglewood, okay? I went to Westchester High School. I went to St. Mary's, So I'm like around the way.
St. Mary's.
I'm an around the way girl that has experienced a lot of things that a lot of other women have experienced.
But you've been the same, even down to I met some of your childhood, like high school friends, and they're like, oh my God, I used to hang out with her in high school and things. And it always was like, every time I see you guys in your videos with her, Tiffney Cambridge is still the same. Yeah. And I'm like, she is. I was like, just definitely, once we met, it was instant hey, come on, let's sit here at the casino table, to be honest. We're going to win us some money. We're going to have us a good time. So how did you balance with your scar, with your scare? Like, how did you balance motherhood while still facing your own scare? Like, because you still have to go home and the kids were I mean, like Justice drives now, of course, but he didn't a couple of years ago.
Mhm.
So you got to take him to school. You got to
Mhm.
go stand in front of your own students
Mhm.
and put a smile on your face when you're not really quite there. So
Right.
how did you balance those two?
I put on my big girl panties.
Okay.
Just put on my big girl panties. You know, I think that I have that, like my mom. I don't want to just lay, because sometimes you just lay there,
You
you
get
know, you get
depressed.
depressed. You start worrying. You start getting all of
Yes.
these thoughts in your mind, these what ifs, and because there's a period after they take out the lump
You
that
got
you
to
have to
wait.
send it to the radiologist. You got to wait to see, make sure. I think that those days that you have to wait are probably the ones that make you the most nervous.
Yes.
They're kind of nerve, wrecking. Um, the process of healing, it wasn't that bad. They stitch you up, and you're just
Right.
staying off of that side and off of that area. That wasn't that bad. But I was eager to get back to work because
To get your mind off of
get
it.
my mind off of it, and can't nobody do it like Miss Cambridge, honey. My kids don't
Don't
want a
get.
substitute.
I was gonna say
They want
they
their
don't want you
teacher.
gone.
They
Yes.
they want their
The
teacher
parents
there,
do too.
and so I had to.
Yes.
I gotta get back to work.
So now that Callie Lynn Dream, I was about to say that.
Little
Now that
dream.
Callie Lynn Dream is in high school, are you
Yes.
having those conversations with her
Yes.
regarding, since it's a family history?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
she more open and she's like, oh my God, leave me alone?
No, she's
like,
very. She's 14.
Of course.
So she's too young, of course, for a
Of course.
mammogram. But yeah, I show her how to do her self
Okay.
breast exams. I talk to her about the importance of breast health and taking care of herself, and not only just her breast, but
Yes,
we want to check for other cancers as
Absolutely.
well. Because in the African American community, we got to make sure that our cervix is okay. We got to make sure our
Absolutely.
uterus is okay. We want to make sure that our whole health is
It's
taken
important.
care of and checked on. And so, honey, that one right there, she's a little. She's into health care, beauty care, okay,
Skincare.
She's
into-
already on. She's already on the
Yes.
path. She is.
Yeah, she's definitely. She
But
is.
even though she never met my grandmother, actually Lonnie Pooh, my niece, she
Did.
was the only grandchild that was able to meet my mother, because Milan was 2 when my mother
Right.
passed. But I talk about my mother so much and our experiences.
Oh,
and
yes.
pictures of her
Throughout the
So
house, everything, the
she's
kids.
just,
Yes.
she's a spirit that, although we can't have her here physically, it's like her energy and her love and her lessons.
Yes.
They still permeate my home. They're buried within my children.
Yes.
We speak of her all the time. And so I know that she's proud that Callie will eventually carry on her legacy and take care of herself the same way that my mom did.
I know a lot of times these experiences usually bring out your friendships, family ships, partners, even colleagues. Like, how did your support circle really support you at that time?
Oh, that I couldn't have done it without my family. I mean,
Yes.
I had it was angelic.
Yes.
It really was. It was a feeling that I'll never forget. The support that I got from my coworkers, they surrounded me
Yes.
with love. All my my mentors at work, my principal, all of the teachers that I taught with. I mean, they gave me their sick days so that I could care for my mom. Then my family. I have one of those really
Yes,
close
you
knit
do.
families. My family's from Texas.
Yes.
So we have deep Southern roots, and so we all stick together.
Yes.
And my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, everybody came to support me. I was never alone. I always had someone there, standing right there with me and beside me. And I was embraced and
See, that's
cared
community.
for.
That's community.
When I was going through the death of my mother, and when I was grieving. But in true Tiffney fashion,
Right.
my mother passed away on a Tuesday, She was in her grave on Saturday.
You saw me do my face.
I was a Muslim during
Yeah.
that time. I did not want my mother out the grave very long. And they came from
And
Texas.
no, she was not a Muslim. She
came, but
whoever
my
made
came,
it, and yeah.
But they came.
No, I understand.
They were here.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you don't like to linger things.
Right.
Yeah.
I grew up in an apostolic church. My church family came together. It was with Wayne Sylvester Davis and Wanda Davis, and Sister Wanda passed recently. They got it together, and had a beautiful service for her. But it's what happens sometimes is people are there for you initially when you lose a loved one, and then you look around and it's like, where is everybody?
Where's everybody?
Yeah. But God did not allow me to fall. He didn't. The same support system that I had 20 years ago.
Same ones. And that's what matters. But I do agree. Sometimes you're like, where'd they go? And I always say people are going to need you after they really die. Yes, you show up for them. Give them a minute to kind of breathe and take it all in, and then go back and check on them, honestly. So how do you feel about your kids not having a relationship or really getting to know or grow up with your mom? Like I know you just shared with me, like Lonnie Pooh definitely met her. She was 2, but there's pictures. She was able to experience having a grandmother. And so how do you feel that Justice and Callie did not get a chance?
I feel sad about that.
Yeah.
You know, I do. It's sad, you know, because my mother, she was a light. Oh my God. She would love, you know, Callie and Justice. She really would. And but she's loving them from heaven. Yes. She is, and her spirit is present. So present that it's just like we're missing her body, her physical body, but her spirit is there. You know, when my mother passed away, she sent a hummingbird.
I remember you
she
saying
sent a hummingbird,
and to let you know,
let me know that she was with
okay.
me. And I see hummingbirds all the time.
Wow.
I do. And it's just a symbol of her love.
Yes.
It's a symbol of her presence. And Callie and Justice know that too.
Yeah, because they'll
every
say,
time they'll say, there's out. Granny.
Yep.
You know.
I was like, I think we were in Palm Springs or something one time for the 4th or whatever, or Labor Day, whatever. One weekend we were out and the hummingbird came. We was at the JW.
There's
and you were
mommy.
like, yep.
Yes.
And they were like, there's Granny.
Yes,
and you're like, there's Mommy.
Yeah.
Hi, Mommy.
Yes.
I do remember that. So does breast cancer still scare you, or are you like battling just head on? Because I know you stated you chose to keep your boobs. And then how do you take care of your body while making sure that you don't experience it?
I'm not scared of breast cancer, but I certainly don't want it.
Absolutely.
I'm not interested in it at all. And I'm going to do everything that I can to not, you can't actually not get it.
Right. Because you don't have any control of it.
But we can do things to keep our bodies healthy. We can exercise. We can eat right. We can take our vitamins and our supplements.
Absolutely.
You know? And we can try to live a healthy lifestyle. But the most important thing that I would say that I need to work on, Leslie, is my stress level.
Yeah.
Is my stress level.
I concur.
Yeah. I need to work on my stress level because stress brings on disease.
It does.
It does.
It really does.
It does. And so if there was something that I would say that I would like to do better in or on, it would be being stressed. And if there was something that I could say during this month of October, besides, of course, go get your breast checked.
Right.
Go get your mammogram. Go get your ultrasound. Stop being stressed out. Stop being stressed. Stop letting the trials and tribulations that you go through on a daily basis and the worries and the concerns and the fears and the anger and the frustration, all of that stuff, it gets inside of you, you know?
It does.
And stress brings on
diseases. And you said something that just gave me chills, because I literally have a ultrasound on my neck on Halloween because my cardiologist was like, this is all stress induced. I have high blood pressure. He's like, nobody, what is going on? You're not overweight. It's not about the foods you're eating. This is stress induced. So he's nervous. He just want to make sure that I'm not harboring it in one of my arteries. So he wants to do a thorough check. And that is serious. Like I think I had a panic attack for the first time about like a few days ago, and I didn't know what was going on. I was like freaking out. And you know me, I hold everything in. I have to do it. I have to complete it. But stress is serious, and it isn't. It's the number one killer in the Black community overall, because it's a silent killer. That's what I'll say. It's a silent killer, not necessarily number one. It's the silent killer, and you don't really know. And it does bring on diseases.
Right.
It festers in, and then it feeds the disease.
It does.
Which makes the diseases spread in our body.
Right. And when your body is at a peaceful, calm state.
Yes.
Okay. You know, it's better for you.
Yes.
It's better for you mentally. It's better for you emotionally. It's better for you spiritually. And of course, it's going to be better for you physically. And so that's what my recommendation would be in terms of what could we all do to have better care for ourselves. Stop stressing.
And I know.
Stop being a worry wart.
Oh yeah, you know that's me. Yeah. Your work as a children's author and a cultural influencer, how has this journey shaped the stories you tell and messages you share?
Well, you know, I wrote my book.
Yes.
And that story was to help children who are experiencing divorce or separation.
Yes.
You know, my children.
Yes.
My children's father and I, when we were splitting up, you know, it took some time for my kids to kind of understand what was going on. And by me being a teacher and in a classroom with children that are going through the same thing, you know, I just took my pen to the paper and just wrote a story about a little girl who had lost her smile. And she lost her smile because her parents were no longer together. And she was going through the challenges that children face when their parents divorce or separate. Okay.
When they're older enough to see it.
I used my voice, and I used
your
my
platform
situation to help and encourage parents and kids and families that are going through that type of situation, you know. And little girl lost her smile, but she definitely got it back.
She did. So when it comes to caregiving, do you look at it as rewarding or challenging?
Rewarding.
Okay. What is your go-to stress relief activity?
Traveling, getting away.
And spa.
Yes. Even if you just go to Palm Springs.
Yes.
Just kind of just getting away. Just getting away from everything. Even if it's a day trip, you know, just kind of just getting away and just relaxing and unwinding.
One word to describe caregivers.
Loving, compassionate, patient, kind. I know that's more than one.
I know, but yes,
that's what they are.
Why author a book?
Well, I think that especially if you're authoring a book and you're talking about an experience that you actually dealt with, you know, it helps other people.
Yes.
It helps other people. You being transparent and you discussing what you've been through helps someone else. And I think that's what God wants us to do.
Yes.
He wants us to be living epistles. He wants us to share our testimonies to help others.
I love that. Favorite way to spend your me time? I know your answer.
Shopping and eating and having a cocktail.
I was going to say, don't leave out the cocktail, right? And how could romantic partners be more supportive?
Not getting on your nerves and stressing you out. And I mean, I'm just going to keep it real.
No,
Yeah. I think that, you know, a calm partner, an understanding partner, a partner that is in tune with you, knows you and knows how to handle you, and knows how to respect you and knows how to love you is really, really, you know, the type of relationship that's going to be best and most healthy, you know, for any woman to be in.
I agree. I concur. So now we are down to, I'm going to introduce you to the gym box since you're my first guest of the Gin Care.
Okay.
So in the gym box, I am requesting that every guest leave a gem. So it could be a quote, it could be word of wisdom, or it can be advice.
Okay.
So now this is my gym box.
Okay.
And you're going to take this breast cancer awareness pin. And then you're going to put your name on one side.
Okay.
And then you just write your name in there. And then my future guest, someone will read it. And then you would hear them read it on my podcast.
This is a wonderful idea, Les. Okay,
Right,
so
thank
name
you.
on the front.
Now, and then right on there, and then you can fold it in half. So,
Okay, there we go.
oh, I love it.
All right.
And fold it in half.
Okie dokie.
And
Put her
that's
in the
it.
box.
So, Tiffney, not only do I want to thank you for coming on the
Absolutely.
podcast.
Thank you for having me,
I
Les.
know. It's just so surreal.
Yes.
You know,
that we're here.
That
All
we're
this
here.
time,
all this
we're
time.
still here together.
We're still here together, and we spoke about we're going to cheers
to just sisterhood and friendship.
And friendship.
Yes.
And then, and even that, just, you know, we've been through a lot of our things together. And from our children, relationships, everything, getting married and like, oh, this is
and almost married,
right?
You whole shebang, girl.
I'm saying,
we've been there and
bridesmaid's
done that.
dress hanging in the closet still. You know,
I still got my
things.
royal court dress.
I was like,
and my bathing suit.
Yes. So I want to personally give you your flowers while you're still alive.
They're beautiful. Thank you, Les.
And a self-wellness basket that you will get.
Thank you. All of this wonderful stuff. Thank you, Les. And the flowers are beautiful.
Those are for you.
But the experience was even better. Just coming and being able to sit with you and share.
And I'm really glad. Yes. And for the record, everyone, she did not know the questions. She didn't know what we were going to talk about.
Shot straight from the hip.
This is straight, but she was really open and prepared for whatever. And that's what I love about her the most. And I'm just so grateful. And my mother has taken her as her.
My mother's Clarice.
Yes. Seriously,
has taken her.
Yes. She has truly. She was like, I'm calling my other daughter. Yeah, she gonna pick up Mom. Go on and call her. So she definitely does. And
Clarice.
Yes. The other thing is, I'm like her favorite Aries. I don't care what she says.
You know, we're fire signs.
I know.
Okay. So sometimes she can be an honorary Leo. I have on my necklace.
She told me.
I have on my Leo necklace.
Yes.
Today.
Oh my God. So
when we were during COVID, and we had to book your birthday because we couldn't go out the house.
Because my birthday was literally the freaking next week.
And I allowed her to be an honorary
and so she told me I could be an honorary Leo. Who my husband is a Leo, by the way.
We're fire signs.
Yes,
and
she
that's
said,
another thing.
"You like my favorite?" She said, "You're almost like a Leo."
Yeah, I know.
She was like,
"Love an Aries." Yes.
And her Lonnie Poo is an Aries too, and that's my.
Some of my favorite people are Aries, and Leslie is definitely one of them.
Oh, thank you. So So I just want to thank you again. I love you.
Anytime.
And for the record, we call each other. This is Sister Cambridge.
And Sister Deans.
And that's how we always
talk to each other. And we're over and out.
Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
I love you.
Love you too.
Wow, what a way to kick off our very first podcast. I'm honestly blown away by Tiffney's openness and strength. Tiffney, if you're listening, thank you from the bottom of my heart for not just sharing your story, but being so authentic in that moment. Your journey and your mom's journey and legacy is just so real and touches us on so much of what we want to explore with this show. And hey, we're just getting started. I'm so excited to bring you more stories that'll inspire you, make you think, and maybe even change how you look at all things when it comes to care, intergenerational care. Until next time, keep caring, keep learning, and keep striving for wellness. For those feeling inspired, and I know you are, by Tiffney's journey, you can connect with Tiffney on Instagram and TikTok. Her handles are @LoveTiffney. Tiffney is spelled Tiffney. And her book, The Little Girl Who Lost Her Smile, is available on Amazon. Until next time, I'm Leslie Deans Bryant, reminding you to stay curious, stay connected, and most importantly, stay committed to discovering your own path to healing. Make sure that you care about somebody as well as yourself. Because as Tiffney showed us today, when we embrace our truth and share our story, we light the way for others. Thank you, and we'll see who visits us next in the Care Den. Take care.